Are you wanting to improve your follow-through? Need tips for how to finish what you start? Well, that's what we're going after today. So if you want to learn more about how to follow through, how to get things done, and how to be more productive, then stick around because in this video, I'm going to give you my insights on how to finish what you start. This is part 3 of my latest series here, which is all about how to follow through and how to finish what you start. So let's get to it. So hey there and welcome back. I'm Alicia from Alicia Cohen Designs, where I teach you intentional planning and productivity. If you're new around here, would you please do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button? It means a lot to me, helps support my channel, and it's just really nice to know that I have supporters out there. So please give that subscribe button a tap, and now let's get to our topic. So here we go. Part 3 of 4 of this series about how to finish what we start. And just so you know, I'm using finish what you start and follow through interchangeably here in this video. Just wanted you to know that. Okay, in this series, we're taking a look at the why under all of this difficulty with finishing what we start, and we're also taking a look at the how. If you're just finding this series, let me help you out here for a minute. In part 1, we covered why we don't follow through, and we put follow through in its place. And in part 2, we covered some important related information about decision making and also some important skill building basics. The videos in this series build upon each other. So before you watch this third part, go back and check out part 1 and part 2. I'll link them over there in the cards now. So go click over there and then come on back. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. And for those of you who are current with this series, let's get into part 3 now. Just one quick reminder first. Remember that just like in parts 1 and 2, I have a freebie for you. Did you check it out yet? It's linked in the description below so that you can snag it. It's called the Chaos to Calm Roadmap. So here's the plan for today's video. We're going to start talking about the 10 systems and strategies to use in order to help you build your follow-through skill. Again, if you didn't catch parts 1 and 2 yet, scroll down to the description now and grab those links because this video really won't make much sense without those other parts first. Okie doke. Let's dive into these systems and strategies that I have for you. Let's start first with a quick highlight from part 2. I want to remind you that with building follow-through, you're picking one thing to focus on and you're picking something small or easy to start with, okay? So now my recommendations for you for helpful systems and strategies. First off, we have to use a system. I know this sounds obvious, but I want to make sure that we talk about it. Don't go into developing your follow-through skill without a system. Be intentional. If you wanted to learn how to draw portraits, you wouldn't just get a pencil and paper and have at it, right? You'd probably look up a tutorial or take a class or something. That would be your system for learning this skill. So same applies here. Now, no worries though. Through this video series, you're already on your way to having a system. And by listening to my recommendations here today, you'll also be on your way for having this step covered. All right, number 2, use alarms. Since this is a new or renewed skill that you're building, we want you to save your brain power for actually doing the follow through, not remembering to do the follow through. So whatever the thing is that you want to follow through on, set an alarm somewhere. Your phone, your digital calendar if you have one, or maybe an actual alarm clock or an Alexa or Google Home or something. But whatever you use, just use something, not your brain. And have it be somewhere that you'll hear it at the intended time. So let's use an example of decluttering your closet. You started this project, got partway through, and now you have a partially decluttered closet. So you're going to set an alarm for tomorrow morning to work on this project, which brings me to my next recommendation. Number 3, aim for the morning. When you're working on whatever it is you want to follow through on, I want you to tackle it in the morning. I know I've mentioned this previously in this series, but I'll say it again here. In the morning, all of your tanks are the fullest and freshest they'll be all day. Your motivation tank, your willpower tank, your decision fatigue tank. So as much as possible, build this skill for finishing what you start into the earlier part of your day, at least until it becomes an autopilot habit, so that you aren't trying to muscle your way through it in the later part of the day when you're tired and your tanks are low. So with our example, aim to declutter your closet in the morning. Now, I hear the excuses popping up. You have to get to work or get the kids to school or whatever the case may be. If this is your situation, then you have 2 choices. 1, wake up a little earlier to have time to do this project as part of your morning, or 2, tackle it on a non-work day or non-school day or non-whatever the conflict is day, which actually brings me to my next recommendation. Number 4, baby steps. So I just recommended either waking up earlier or waiting until the weekend or whatever day works for you. And just for the record, in my current season of life, I am not a wake up extra early to get it done sort of person. So if you don't want to wake up early for whatever reason, I am with you. And don't feel bad about that for 1 second. And if you're in a season where waking up earlier works for you, then definitely go for it. Otherwise, just pick a day when you don't have to get yourself up and out somewhere. Okay, but how does this relate to baby steps? In order to be a person who follows through, you don't need to tackle your follow-through project every day or even most days. With our example, you can follow through on this project by decluttering your closet for 20 minutes each Saturday. That's it. It's not every day unless you want it to be. But in fact, I actually recommend that you don't take it on every day because you're building a new skill. This isn't a one and done sort of thing. You're learning the skill of being a person who follows through. So don't get all gung-ho and do it daily and burn yourself out. Baby steps. Do it once weekly if that applies to your particular follow-through project, or twice weekly, but whatever you do, do it with baby steps because you are being realistic. And that will lead to building your follow-through, which will lead to accomplishing these projects that you started and want to finish, which will lead to you feeling successful, which is what we want for you in this pursuit of building your follow-through skill. Number 5, use a timer. You're building this follow-through skill, but you're also a person who has a bunch of other things going on in your life, right? This is where a timer is especially useful. Pick a time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, and then work on your project that you're working on finishing until the timer beeps. That's it. Now, if you have the luxury and the desire to set the timer for an hour, go for it. But my guess is that you haven't finished this particular task because there's something about it that you're resisting. So in this case, my recommendation is to pick a time amount somewhere in the 10 to 20 minute range, even 5 minutes. Set yourself up for success with an amount of time that is super doable. In fact, so doable that you practically can't not take action and follow through. So in our closet example, you're decluttering your closet for 20 minutes on Saturday morning. Set a timer for 20 minutes, get to work, and when the timer beeps, you're done. Then you'll get after it again the next Saturday. Easy peasy. Now, if the timer beeps and you're in the zone with decluttering your closet, then you can choose to go again with another round. Just do so intentionally, being aware of your time and energy. This is a slow and steady gets it done situation, and not a slow and steady wins the race. Building the skill of finishing what you start isn't a race. It's a lifelong walk where you'll tackle one project or task after another. The trick is using these tools and strategies so that you build it into a lifelong walk, a lifelong skill, a lifelong habit, really, and not a sprint race where you burn out. So use the timer to facilitate those baby step sessions, and one day you'll look around and say, oh wow, look at what I can do with consistent baby steps over time. Okay, real quick, if you haven't already, would you please hit that subscribe button? As I like to say, you subscribing is kind of like the gasoline for my channel. It keeps things running around here, so please help keep this puppy running and subscribe. Okay, back to it. All right. So a bunch of good systems and strategies for today to start putting in place. In the interest of not making this video super long for you all, I'm going to be doing a to be continued on this one. Next time, we'll get into the 6 through 10 strategies here to finish up our series. So be sure to keep an eye out for that coming your way next week. Or if you happen to be watching this a bit further into the future, then all of the parts will be linked in the description below. And before we go, I just want to remind you about my freebie that's also linked in the description below. It's called the Chaos to Calm Roadmap. It's a downloadable PDF that goes through the 6 steps for going from feeling overwhelmed in your life to feeling in control in your life. It's what I use in my own life, and so I created this freebie so that I could share it with you. In the Chaos to Calm roadmap, I've also included the 3 mistakes to avoid when it comes to ditching overwhelm. So go check out my freebie and see what you think. As always, thanks so much for spending this time with me. Be on the lookout for part 4 coming your way very soon. And my parting encouragement, as always, if you're feeling overwhelmed today, remember that when it comes to planning and productivity, being intentional plus not giving up means that you are going to get there. Catch you next time. Take good care.